Daddy, Sylvia Plath, poet biography. When Plath was 4 years old, her father Otto, a professor of German and biology at Boston University, became ill. By the time he sought medical care 4 years later, it was too late. One of his legs had to be amputated, and he eventually died of complications from his long hospitalization. Daddy was written shortly before Plath's suicide in 1963, along with many of the other poems that ended up in her book Ariel, which was published after her death. Plath wrote these poems after her husband, poet Ted Hughes, left her for another woman. His died threw the family into economic and emotional turmoil. Throughout the rest of her life, which she ended herself in 1963, Plath struggled with depression. Though she was a prolific poet, she published only one book of poetry, The Colossus, and one novel, The Bell Jar, while she was alive. Daddy. Daddy is disturbing on its own, but it becomes simply haunting the moment we picture Plath writing early in the morning before her children were awake, growing closer and closer to self destruction. Sylvia Plath's Daddy is not just about Plath's relationship with her father. It's also about topics such as death, love, fascism, brutality, war, marriage, femininity, and God, to name a few. Explanation line 1 to 5. The poem starts with the speaker declaring that she will no longer put up with the black shoe she has lived in poor and scared for 30 years. She uses the second person throughout the poem saying, You, who is daddy? So that means that she is comparing her father to a shoe that she has been living in very unhappily, but she is not going to put up with it anymore. The repetition of you do not do in the first line even makes this stanza sound a little song like. But this is no happy nursery rhyme. The speaker is poor and will not dare to breathe or sneeze, meaning that she feels trapped and scared. Explanation line 6 to 7. The poem no longer seems like a nursery rhyme in this stanza. In line 6, the speaker tells her father that she has had to kill him as if she has already murdered him. But then in line 7, the speaker says that he died before she had time. Here, she means to say that before I had time to get to know him or before I could make him proud. Either way, it is shocking that the speaker claims she had to kill her father. After hearing this violent sentiment, we can assume that she had said that he died and she angry as well. Explanation line 8. After we hear that the speaker's father is dead, the phrase describing him, marble heavy, helps us imagine the stiff heaviness of a corpse or even a marble gravestone. The bag full of God refers to the speaker is saying that the skin around our bodies is nothing but a bag. The image of her father as a bag full of God shows her conflicted feelings about him. Her father died when she was young and he controlled her world as a sort of God over her life. Perhaps his death caused memories of him to have more control over the speaker's life, so he seems to her to be as powerful as God. Explanation lines 9 to 13. These lines shows us that the phrase marble heavy was partly meant to set up an image of the speaker father as a statue. But he is not a normal statue, he is frightening like a gargoyle. Then Plath shows us that this statue is gigantic. One of its grey toe is as big as a San Francisco seal, but its head is all the way across the United States in the Atlantic. The speaker describes the Atlantic as freakish, pouring its water green as a bean over the blue of the ocean. The speaker even comes right out and says the Nazareth, a region on the shore of Massachusetts, is beautiful. This line shows us that the statue stretches from coast to coast of the United States with a toe in the Pacific and a head in the Atlantic. The statue is actually the image of the speaker's dead father in her head. Line 14 to 15. After we have gotten the image of the father as a statue stretching across the US, the speaker says that she uses to pray to recover him. Recover means regain, and the second meaning of a get healthy gain. Knowing our speaker used to is the important part of the line. She, dis- she does not pray to get her father back anymore. Then we get down to line number 15. We get a sense from the small sound of these words that it's a sort of sigh. The phrase in German actually means "oh, you." Plath's father was a German immigrant, which probably explained why he is writing this little sigh in his language when she thinks of praying to get him back from the dead. Explanation of the line number 16 to 20. The speaker is talking about the German language, but in a Polish town that has been destroyed by a war. But the speaker does not just say something like destroying by war, she says it has been scalped flat by the rollers of wars. She repeats the word wars 3 times, giving us the idea that this place has been flattered by more than one war. The name of the town is common. Platt's Polish friend says there are many towns in Poland with the same name. Daddy is perhaps Sylvia Plath's best known poem. It has elicited a variety of distinct reactions from the feminist praise of its unadulterated rage towards male dominance to wariness at its usage of Holocaust imagery. It has been reviewed and criticized by hundreds and hundreds of scholars and is upheld as one of the best examples of unconfessional poetry. It is certainly a difficult poem for some. Its violent imagery, invocation of Jewish suffering, and vitriolic tone can make it a decidedly uncomfortable reading experience. Overall, the poem relates Plath's journey of coming to terms with her father's looming figure. He died when he was 8. She was herself as a victim and him as several figures, including a Nazi, vampire, devil, and finally, as a resurrected figure, her husband, whom she has also had to kill. Though the final line has a triumphant tone, it is unclear whether she means he has gotten through to him in terms of communication or whether she is thorough thinking about him. Plath explained them poem BBC interview. In other words, contradiction is at the heart of the poem meaning. Neither its triumph nor its horror is to be taken as a sum total of her intention. Instead, each element is contradicted by its opposite, which explains how it shoulders so many distinct interpretations. This sense of contradiction is also apparent in the poem rhyme scheme and organization. It uses a sort of nursery rhyme sing song way of speaking. There are hard sounds, short lines, and repeated rhymes. This establishes and reinforces her statue as a childish figure in relation to her authoritative father. This relationship is also clear in the name she uses for him, Daddy, and in her use of O sounds and his childish cadence. Daddy can also be viewed as a poem about the individual trapped between herself and society. Plath weaves together patriarchal figures, a father, Nazis, a vampire, a husband, and then holds them all accountable for history's horrors. Like the Colossus, Daddy imagines a larger than life patriarchal figure, but here the figure has a distinctly social political aspect. Even the vampire is discussed in the terms of a tyrannical sway over a village. In the interpretation, the speaker comes to understand that she must kill the father figure in order to break free of the limitations that is placed upon her. In particular, these limitations can be understood as patriarchal force to enforce a strict gender structure. It has the fear of the exorcism and the act of purification. However, some critics have suggested that the poem is actually an allegorical representation of her fears of creative paralysis and her attempt to slough off the male muse. Stephen Gould Alexander writes that at a basic level, Daddy concerns its own violent, transgressive birth as a text. Its origin in a culture that regarded as a back on the patriarch himself when she labeled him as bastard. Indeed, it is hard to imagine that any of Sylvia Plath's poems could leave the reader unmoved. Daddy is evidence of her profound talent, part of which he rested in her unabashed confrontation with her personal history and the traumas of the age in which she lived. That she could write a poem that encompasses both the personal and historical is clear in Daddy. Conclusion. Daddy is perhaps Sylvia Plath's best known poem. It has elicited a variety of distinct reactions from feminist praise of its unadulterated rage towards male dominance to wariness at its usage of Holocaust imagery. It has been revived and criticized by hundreds and hundreds of scholars, and it is upheld as one of the best examples of confessional poetry.